right, hey everybody, welcome to DeDe's Dope Podcast. I'm your host, DeDe in the morning, the woman you hear every morning on the radio. Hopefully you are listening and all over the country. But real quick, I'm so happy, if I can say happy, I'm happy and excited about doing DeDe's Dope Podcast Season 2. This woman here, you watch her every week on Married to Medicine. Well, we got to talk about it. Dr. Contessa is here.
Hello.
Hey, girl.
Hello.
Girl, okay, you on a reality show.
Well, I was. This year, I took a little break.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
no, it's so funny when people say that. It's like, oh my God, 5 years. 5 years is a long time to be sharing everything. I just needed a break.
Has it been 5 years?
5 freaking years. And at some point, you got to like do other things. Right?
Okay. In the 5 years, what's been the most memorable thing you've seen yourself do or the most memorable moment on that reality show?
Without question, my daughter was choking. And I think if you ever see that scene or watch that episode where she was choking, I didn't panic because it's like in medicine and I was in the military, like I just don't panic. And that's, I think, what makes me perfectly suited for being a doctor. I just like figured out what was happening. I kind of assessed the situation and I, disengaged what was in her throat and then kept it moving. And my husband was sitting there. He's also a physician. And I was just like, I got it. And didn't panic. But I think mothers in general, so taking the doctor hat off and putting it on the mom hat, we just assess the situation. We take care of business. Like we don't really panic. We got to take care of it. Like fix it. Baby sick, take care of baby right now. And,
I don't panic. And my mama told me I had no feeling.
Oh,
she said that's why. She said people who don't panic have no feeling. I'm like, yeah, I do.
We're objective. We're analytical. Like we assess. We're working. So you can't panic. When you panic and you're not thinking.
Really, I told my mom, it wasn't that I don't panic. I just have delayed reactions to things. I don't know. I'm just always in slow motion.
That's
I don't know.
Right. You thinking. You're a thinker.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Your husband is a doctor as well?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you guys meet in like medical school? What?
Interestingly enough, we met at a medical conference. And funny story, we were in the elevator and I had a boyfriend. He says he didn't have a girlfriend, but he was dating somebody. But so he and his brother and his nephew. So Scott's the youngest of 10 kids. And so his nephew was actually older than me. And so they came into the elevator and they were like, yeah, I want to go on a yacht. And I was like, y'all full of shit. Like, what you talking about? You know what I'm saying? But he was serious. So one of his friends apparently had a yacht and we were in Miami. And so me and my girls did like a risk benefit analysis. And we figured out like—
Hold on a second. A what?
A risk benefit analysis.
Okay. I love that. Risk benefit analysis.
My daddy was a truck driver. My mama worked at the post office.
Okay.
Like, have I ever been offered the opportunity to go on a yacht? Right?
Yeah.
And so me and my friends sat down, all medical students, and we said, look, have you been offered to go on a yacht? Nope. You? Nope. And so we all said, okay, this is an opportunity that may not come back. So should we do it? But we all have to do it because they can't kill all of us. And so we literally did this. And it was one of the best moments, top 5 in my life still.
Really?
Amazing experience.
And he was on this, he was one of those.
So he and his brother and his nephew invited us to go out on a yacht. And so that's how we met. Like literally, we in the elevator was like, hey, pretty girls, y'all want to go on a yacht tomorrow?
Can I be honest with you? I got to be honest with you. That's a great introduction. I'd date him too. If a man told me the first time I meet him, you want to get on a yacht? I want to marry you.
But it was no hanky-panky. It was no funny business. We just kind of kept in touch. And every year we see each other at this conference, like we hug, take this little picture.
Oh, so it didn't happen that day?
No, so that's what kind of that day we spent on this yacht and just like having fun. And actually, funny story, my girlfriend was feeling him. So there was that first... Okay, so I got to be honest. I thought he was a really nice guy. He was friend zoned.
Okay.
And so I was like, girl, and she's married now, so I won't say her name, but I was like, you should date him. He's cute. And so every year at this conference, I would see him for 4 years and I would try to hook him up with several of my friends. And one of my friends actually stalked him for a while because she did have like a little, I call him a, vacation boyfriend. She was her VB.
Oh, God.
So she was fixated on him. And so she was stalking him, was like, you gonna be my husband. So yeah. And it didn't work out.
This was a friend of yours?
Because I did. Every year I would try to hook him up with somebody else. Absolutely.
Now,
that's what girls do.
Once you got with him, what happened with your friendship with her?
Oh, she's fine. She's married and everything. Because he was like, it was just that like 3-day weekend situation. I don't know if they slept together.
That's okay. Get ready. You know I'm going there.
Now my mind is turning. I think I'm going to go home and ask him, did you ever
Would that change? Would that change things for you?
At this point, no, because now we've,
Right. But you wouldn't care. But would it have changed things back then had he slept with her?
I don't think so because she was in New York and, he was in Michigan. So, and I really, I did that. Like I put them in the same situation space.
And so then eventually you were like, okay, we like each other.
It's a good question. I actually never asked that because
if he smashed.
That was like 3 years before we started dating. And that's probably why I've always had successful relationships. Like stuff that I didn't really care. It didn't really matter.
Neither.
Yeah. Like
with my husband, honestly, the first time we met, I was at a club. I met my husband at the club. I know it, right? Hey. I met him at the club and I was there with 5 other women. Okay. And there was another girl with us. And I think she's so beautiful. And she had on yellow, so yellow pops. It's a color that, and so I remember seeing my husband from us, me and the other girl in the yellow, and across the bar. I'm thinking he's looking at her because I think she's so beautiful. Yeah, for sure. And she had this color that would make you look at her, right? And so I remember being in this club for 20 minutes. I leave the club. And he comes out and he's coming out to get his car. Make a long story short, years later, we always talk and I go, I always thought you were looking at the girl in the yellow. So now when we see her at home, I'll go, that could have been your wife.
That could have been you. Could have been you.
Even though she crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Right. And speaking of which, it's so interesting because, and this is kind of us just talking, but girls are funny, right? Sometimes it's just your night. Like all the guys are into your friend and it's just not your night. And I've had girlfriends and
hold on a second. Now I had a lot of not my nights. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
I used to go out with Nicole. Nicole got my girlfriend Nicole, the producer.
And you just like, damn, I mean, she came in a t-shirt. Her jeans got a stain on them. But all the dudes like, hey, fabulous.
Yeah, they did.
Like,
and I was like, I didn't put all this makeup on.
And it's just not your night.
It ain't my night.
So you got to just be your friends like wingman that night because the next time it's going to be your night. But the girls who, when it was my night, made me feel bad or just like was just shady or funny with me, that's how they're not my friends anymore. No, and that's how you know, because it's just nothing that you do. It's just that energy. It's that aura.
Well, can I tell you what I would say to my friends? Let me tell you what I would say to my friend. Like I would say to Nicole, I'd be like, it's your night again, bitch.
Right? We ain't going out together no more. Because you stealing all the shine.
And then I'll be like, let me go out with her because she be attracting them and shit. I'll get some of the leftovers.
Yeah, that's it. And then sometimes the leftovers, 25, 30 years later is what makes you. Yeah, right.
Come on, girl. Yeah. All right, so let's talk. You were in the military?
The Navy.
No.
Yes, the Navy. Some of the best years of my life. Absolutely.
Golly, I read a book a couple of years ago about from a guy who was in the Navy. I want to say he was in the Navy. It was about basically making your bed.
Okay.
Small book. Has anybody heard about this? The book is so great about a guy and it was in the Navy. He talks about what it's like to be in the Navy and going through basic training and that training, how it shapes who he is and how it can shape your life. Did that do that for you in the Navy?
I think so. I really felt like when I was in the Navy, I was grown. Right? I mean, I remember being for us, I was an officer. I was a flight surgeon. So I came in as an officer. I came as a physician. And so we went to officer indoctrination school. And so I had to like get there by myself. And then I was there for all these months and studying and learning how to be like a leader, but also how to be a good follower. And it was just really a great
Why
innovative.
the Navy?
So my uncle was the most successful person that I knew. And he was a JAG. He was a lawyer for the Navy. And so I just kind of patterned myself. You have to find a mentor.
I agree.
And he was actually a distant mentor. He lived in like Virginia Beach and DC. And so I had seen him maybe 3 times in my life. But I just identified like his path. And I said, whatever he did to become successful, I'm going to do that too. And so I knew when I was looking at going to medical school, I knew there was like an insurmountable journey for me because I knew doctors, but I didn't know doctors. Everybody was regular. Like they worked blue collar jobs.
Yeah, you said your mom and dad
My mom worked at the post office. My daddy was a truck driver. And so I looked at him and he got a scholarship to, go to law school. And that's what I did for medical school. And that's how I did it. So I followed his path.
Do you have brothers and
I do.
sisters?
My brother and sister are super successful. My brother I said all the time, my brother can buy and sell me like 10 times. He's an attorney. And
nice.
He's 5 years younger than me. And he just put his wife through law school.
Wait. So your parents, hard work. This is that American story, right? That American dream.
Horatio Alger.
That's right. Hardworking.
Yeah.
And now the children benefit.
That's right.
I keep telling everybody, I keep telling everybody, I want a reality show. And guess what I want the reality show to be? First generational wealth of African Americans.
Absolutely.
First generation. There's a difference,
story.
right?
Yeah, that's right.
And
we're strivers.
Right?
We're strivers.
And so now here you are and you're married to a physician. So you live a whole different life than what you grew up.
I do. I live a very different life. I think though,
it's glamorous, right?
What was aspirational for my mom was for her to see other people doing great things. And she would watch stuff on TV, Cosby, of course, the things like Cosby. Can we still say Cosby Show? Mm-hmm. But Felicia Rashad in my head is my like auntie.
Right.
Like she was so I thought we were connected.
Wow.
And if I ever see her, they may need to get a restraining order.
Really? Because
I feel like, hey, queen, I know you. She hard, stiff arm.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
5 feet, but give me 50
But
feet.
she is a queen, though.
She
When you really look at her and
she
just,
is.
yeah.
And I look at that life and my mom would make me watch stuff. Like she would sometimes call me into the room because my mom had my sister at 15 and she had me at 18, almost 19. So she didn't have that either. But she knew that there was opportunities out there that were better for her children. And so she made sure that we never thought, she always said this, you're better than nobody, but nobody is better than you.
I love that. Come on now.
And it kept me like grounded. So whenever I was in a room and I felt like insecure, or maybe I didn't belong there, or I would remember what she said. And I actually think that made a difference.
Isn't that something when our parents will say certain things that matter to you? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Mine was always, my mother used to always tell me, because I would like fangirl over somebody or be obsess over a celeb. And my mama used to always say to me, they're no different than you. They put their pants on the same way you do, one leg at a time.
That's right.
So
And they all have insecurities.
And she was always, let me just be vulgar about my mama. And she would say this, and they shit the same way you do.
Same way.
They got to pull their pants down and sit on the same ass toilet in the story. So for me, it's always been a thing of, we're all the same. We all got to put our pants on the same way, one leg at a time. We all got to use, so when people do, I always go, there's no way of me going, oh my God. Like you can be impressed, right?
That's right.
But,
But don't be paralyzed by fear or thinking that they're better than you, because they're not.
What I'm learning from you, and I'm looking at the cards and I'm looking at, but what I'm really learning from you, and even we were in the back and we were getting our makeup done, we're talking, you're so down to earth. You're so beautiful, so real, all of those things. You defy the normal, what everybody assumes of a beautiful woman, number one.
For sure.
Like, you're the anti of, if you
I speak to everybody. If we make contact, I'm saying hi. I'm not like,
so you didn't
no
get
boots
caught up,
in my mouth.
You didn't let your looks lead. You didn't lead with your looks.
You know what's funny though? I say all the time, like I led with the smart and not with the pretty. Sometimes I regret that a little bit because I'm into this softer life that everyone's talking about. But I like always was like, you ain't smarter than me. Like I don't need you to do nothing for me. But sometimes that pushed opportunities for someone maybe doing soft things for me because I was always
wanting to prove that you were
I was
more than.
I was in a gifted and talented program and my IQ was ridiculous. Like that was not always relevant, but sometimes I didn't want to end up somebody's baby mama, somebody's like, chick who's the crazy. I didn't want that. I didn't want you to ever minimize me because I felt like, again, looking at the opportunities that because my mother had children early, how she was sometimes disregarded, and as smart as she was, because of her circumstances, people didn't take her seriously. Right. And I never wanted to not be taken seriously. But sometimes I overdid it with you gonna motherfucking take me seriously. Right, do you know now, my IQ is? Yeah. Let's do it. What we're doing? Physics? What?
Now you're wearing it on your sleeve right here. Yeah,
it was too much. And then I went to the military, and so then I became an officer, and so I became the officer doctor. It's like, okay, wait, it's too much. And so I just, I'm cute, but that's not all I am. Don't ever think that.
Okay, but hold on.
All I am is a pretty face.
On one hand, you're doing all of this. You're smart. Mm-hmm. You're intelligent. You're in the Navy. You're a doctor.
Yeah.
You're not wanting people to look at you as just this really fluff, right?
Right. Which is why I actually ended up doing the reality show.
I was getting ready to ask, because how did you end up on that? Why did you do it?
Because of that. Because normally I would say no.
That's ragged.
That's right. Because I was fluff, and I didn't ever have any fluff, right? I just always worked really hard for everything. And I was just like, let me just do, again, I felt like when you look at people on television, right, they will talk about the pedigree and, the things that they've come from. But you think about the statistics. How many Black women veterans are there that are out there? And then how many Black women officers were there? And I was a doctor in the military. How many Black women are that? And so I wanted little girls who maybe came from my background, right? Because my mom, again, was a teen mom. And then my dad was, suffered from substance abuse and was in and out of prison. It wasn't really, so my mom, for all intents and purposes, was really a single mom. And I didn't want girls to sometimes feel like that I suffered from imposter syndrome, of course. Like I would be in rooms and feel like I didn't belong there. Mm. And I wanted someone to look and be watching themselves on the screen for the most part and say, I can do that too. Because if I did it, I tell everybody, if I did it, anybody can do it. Right. Because I think smart can be learned, especially now with the internet. YouTube, you can learn anything you ever want to know on YouTube. Every book, we had to go to the library. We had to check stuff out.
You're right.
You can learn stuff.
She said smart can be learned. I was
smart
like,
can be learned. Yeah.
I ain't got through life. I still ain't learned nothing. I ain't smart.
I would disagree.
I'm joking.
I would disagree. Right. You know what I'm saying?
But, okay, wait.
We had to work so hard to get so little.
But let's talk, reality show. I have a love-hate relationship with reality shows, okay?
Yeah.
And, on one hand, it can give you an unbelievable platform and people get to know you, but it could also take your brand and your image down to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And with you being a doctor, being a veteran, being on a show, does it diminish your accomplishments to you? And do you get what I'm saying? Because
for sure.
There's a negative connotation associated, certainly for Black women. I wish we can get a reality show that shows Black women doing positive things like what you're doing. But even when we have these arguments that we don't have to flip a table.
Yeah,
and we don't have to cuss each other out. And we don't have to get gutter with him.
Yeah.
If we could be a situation where we go, let's go to dinner and let's hash this out. And we go, okay, you know what? I didn't understand you. Instead of let's get ignorant.
Right. Well, I think that's two parts, two answers to that question. Number one, the first part of that is reality television is by definition conflict TV. And if that show existed, would people watch? Because I think it's been tried over and over again.
Why do we like conflict? I guess that's my other problem.
I know. And, if I think about when I'm watching television, because I am a striver, an overachiever, I'm doing 12 things. I'm folding clothes, doing my baby's hair, fixing dinner, going on the computer, checking emails. And so you have to do something that's going to pull your attention to the screen. So I do get that.
That's true.
I think and then the second part is why do you do it? And then how do you figure out like when it's time to depart? I feel like you have to figure out what your why. And for me, every year I had kind of until last year, I had a why. Like, there's either something that you can sell for. Well, the first couple of years was one, I felt before pre-COVID, I was really burnt out. And I wanted to transition in my career somewhat and get into working less because I've been working really, really hard and not really super available to my kids. And so anybody who knows me knows I got like my little ducks in a row. Like my kids are always with me. Matter of fact, to the extent sometimes that people have to say, children, this is an adult-only situation. I'm that girl. I'm that one. I'm like, okay, wait. So can kids not come? Or is it optional if your kids come? So I have because even when I do speaking engagements and stuff, which I do a lot of, I will, for the most part, bring my kids with me. Because again, my mom was a single mom and she did that.
Right.
There was no babysitter for us. Right. And so I like my kids kind of being up under me because they're at school all day and I'm at work. And so when I got to the point where I wanted to transition a little bit, I didn't have that ability because I didn't have that kind of job where you cannot go to work. Right. And so this allowed me a little bit of leeway to have that, to work part-time.
So you make a lot of money in doing reality shows?
It was more about being able to replace my income in certain parts. You can make a lot of money, but you also spend a lot of money.
Do you?
I spend
See, this is the part people don't know, right? Everybody wants to be on a reality show. They want to have instant fame. They want to use it as a vehicle to sell their products. They want to... But tell everybody that part because we don't see it.
So it's so many different. So if you watch these reality shows, you'll see every year someone's creating some product, doing something. But you're wondering what happened with that product from last year. Are they still selling it? And so there is an element of like doing stuff for the show, right? You open these businesses that you're just like, wait, why she got a coffee bar, but she's ophthalmologist? Like, what is that about? So it's kind of like you see people doing stuff for show and it costs money. And that's one thing. And if you weren't on TV, would you just be going to work, picking your kids up, hanging out with your friends, living your fabulous life? And then the second part of it is you are so busy sometimes that you're unavailable. And so my kids already said, I never want to be a doctor because you're never available to your kids as a doctor. You're always at work. Or when you're not at work, you're always working.
And what type of doctor are you?
I do preventive occupational and family. And I have an integrative and functional medical clinic. And I'm busy because
you have a clinic?
I have my own clinic.
Well, damn.
And not only do I have my own clinic, we even have a mobile clinic. And this is some of the things and so the other part is we talking about the why. If you have something to sell, I think Bethany Frankel said it perfectly. If you have something to sell, but if you only just sharing what you do, sometimes that's not enough because then you have to turn up. And so then you kind of like, and I'm a Gemini, like I was talking about before. I'm like grand opening, grand closing. Like I will give you everything or I don't fuck with you. There's really nothing in the middle. My mama's a Gemini. So I was raised like pure that way. And so I will literally, if you like, I like these earrings. Hey baby, here, you can have them because I will know that they made an impact for you. And every time you wear them, you'll be like, Contessa gave me those earrings. I love that. I love to do things for other people. But if I give you everything and I'm so kind, and then for no reason, you just like, I'm going to cut that bitch. Okay, well, next time my machete is going to cut your head off because that's how I think. Because I'm like, you just terrible.
You just came at
You're just
me
a terrible
for no
person.
reason. Yeah,
you have to be.
Girl.
You have to be removed from this earth.
Girl.
That's how we think. You're not safe among the masses. I have to, for the benefit of all, get rid of you. That's how I think, right? Because, oh man, we was
you
all
came
living.
for me, I did nothing to you.
It was kumbaya, and then you just for no reason came for me. And so I think why maybe when you look at me, because I was Miss Xavier, I was homecoming queen in high school. I would get along with everybody. I was in the Miss Missouri pageant, and I was Miss Congeniality.
Wait, hold on a second. Wait, I get it.
I was friendly.
You're one of those charmed people that I always tell people, this is my analogy about God and heaven and how we come to earth. And everybody at work laughs. I said, so, when you're a kid and you're in heaven and God says, or you're a baby, and God says, okay, my child. And he kisses you and he says, mwah, go to earth, and you fall back to earth. Bye. And you're going back to earth. And I always tell people, God must have kissed you on the mouth. On me, or he kissed you on the forehead. Let me tell you why. I was like, hey, God, I got to go to earth. And God said, hold on a second, somebody called me. And I was in his arms, and he said, what? And then,
Too late.
Somebody needs what? DeDe, good luck. What? And I was like, where's my kiss? On the cheek?
Right.
on the forehead, God. Give me one of those.
Right.
You got a kiss on the cheek, forehead somewhere.
Well,
God kissed you and said, go be great on earth.
I think my parents did that when they named me Contessa. Oh. They made me one of the rare ones. Like it's not very many Contessas you meet.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, I always, people knew, and you say Contessa, right? And it's a title. It's an Italian title. Yeah. So instead of the Countess or the Princess, it's the Contessa. It's normally the Contessa. And so people knew who I was. And so I had a choice, right? You can be like that bitch, or you can be that friendly one.
I love you.
And I was a friendly one.
Guess what you're talking about? People always say this, when you name your children, they will live into their names.
That's right.
So you have to make sure, you get what I'm saying? Like,
agreed.
So you did that. So you're married, your husband, you guys have been married how long?
So this is almost our 20th year of being married. I know.
Jesus.
It is a long time.
Has it been great? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, what has your marriage been?
10 and 0. It was, it's difficult because sometimes it's really good and other times it's like terrible. Like,
how'd you get through the terrible times?
I think it just happens. You have to work at it actively, but then so one thing I will be honest about, some people are like, oh, you're supposed to just stay together forever. Sometimes you don't marry your soulmate. And that was kind of a challenge for us to come to at times, to really figure out, is it that we're like trying to force something to fit based on the decision that we made before we had enough information to make that decision? And, I know people, this is maybe a very not in vogue way of thinking about things, but like, say, for instance, my husband came to me tomorrow and was like, you know what? I am just not in love with you and I'm in love with someone else. I would be like, go and be great.
Me too.
I wouldn't even be angry.
Me too.
I would be like, because it would be so unfair for me to make him stay somewhere where he feels like this is not the right person for me.
Forget unfair to him. It's unfair to me.
It's unfair to me too.
Because I want to be loved properly and right. And if you tell me you're in love with somebody else, well, then go have at it and good luck.
Because
and
maybe
don't bring your stank ass back.
Right. Well, and see, I wouldn't even be angry because I'm like, maybe you didn't even know a love like that existed. Right. Because we have these paradigms that we're raised under.
Come on, girl, use that word paradigm.
Right? And so maybe it's just that the way you saw love, because of the combative nature of your own parental relationship, you thought arguing and fighting each other was the normal way to do it. And I remember one time, I remember distinctively growing up and seeing my mother laying on the floor in the closet, right? And me and my siblings just heard some rumbling and we came downstairs and we were all like, what's going on here? And my dad was standing up and my mom was laying on the floor in the closet. And in my head, I was like, this ain't right. And I remember thinking, the fuck, right? And my mom was like, everything's okay. It's fine. That's what they did. Fine. It's fine. And I don't ever know what happened. I've never seen any abuse with my mom and my dad, but that is one of the most pervasive memories in my head. And I remember thinking, I ain't never gonna be with a man who ever makes me, I'm on the ground and he's standing over me. So without saying any more than that, that was enough. But that was the baseline. Like, you will never, ever lay your hands on me or even make it look like you did. And so for that reason, if that's your basement, like that's your standard, then imagine the benefit if you just have a person who's just like, I am with my boys and the phone rings and no matter what I'm doing, hey, do it 1 second. Hey, baby, what you need? I got you. That's a different standard if that's what your dad did. And if you were like, I'm never going to be with a guy who don't take my call when he's with his friends. Wait, mine was, I'm just never going to be with a guy who's standing over me.
While he,
and so what I'm saying is, if that's what you have to look at what capacity you had when you thought about this is what a healthy relationship looks like.
Yeah.
And then the more you grow and learn, you're like, oh, it could be even better than that. And it could be even better than that. And so my husband's the youngest of 10 kids and he was a mama's boy. Like so much so that I was just like, is there space in my world, in your world for me and your siblings and your mom? Right. And he is so family oriented and he would never, and so that was a challenge because when I watch reality television, people were like, your husband's abusive. I'm like,
how?
Because let's be honest, I know abuse and my husband ain't nothing close to abuse. But that's not what my challenge is. I just want us to feel like we are each other. You taking a phone when no matter who you with, you got me, there ain't nobody in the world who can compare to us. Like there is nobody whose relationship, they can't even say, no one in your world can even say, I know something about your husband that you don't know. Or family, siblings, any of that. That's what a marriage is.
So wait a minute. That's interesting.
You see what I'm saying? And you don't sometimes get to that until after you've been in the game
for a while with it. But you just made me think about something. And people have come at me to try to do reality shows, several people, and I just haven't done it. And I don't know if I would because I kept saying I want to keep my marriage. And that's why, because there is this myth that reality shows, because here's the thing.
It's a myth.
Because guess why? What you just said. People watching your show, watching Married to Medicine, saying he's abusive. Now, it got you looking at your man separately and differently. Or they said when you guys have an argument on camera, and this argument could have been 6 months to a year ago. Y'all are walking through the mall at the airport. Here comes a viewer and they bring up that same sore subject that you guys may have had. And now you in the argument again, they say that that's the difficulty of a relationship on TV is that the public won't let go. They may have just watched something and they won't let go. Then eventually you put it in your mind. How do you guys keep that out of your relationship then?
Well, actually, I think, unfortunately, that part, the distraction of it all, it was frustrating because it made it almost like a justification for what we were actually going through to be okay. Because that wasn't, like, that part is not true. So it's like, see, what they saying is, and I'm in my head, I'm like, I'm agreeing with him, but I'm like, but stop acting like that's the issue. That's not the issue. Forget what somebody else is saying. I'm saying this is what our issue is, but they said,
they see something.
So we're both, I'm like, that's wrong. But we're then focusing, instead of focusing on working on the things that we actually have issues, I've now become a partner and allied with you and, for fighting for injustice against your reputation that has been maligned. Jeez. And I'm like, that's a distraction. I wish we wasn't wasting time on that. We could be doing
the real work
on stuff that actually matters. And so it actually was a frustrating thing because it was a little empowerment of like, see how good we doing? See how everybody got everything wrong. And I'm just like, who cares what everybody else thinks? I'm telling you about this is what our issues are. Forget what everyone else is saying. I never even said that. That's never my issue.
So did you guys go to counseling, you and your
over
husband?
And again, but we quit counseling again. And it was frustrating because of the stuff that we're dealing with that has nothing to do with the issues. That's what I'm saying. It was like the problem sometimes with reality television that I would say if you're really a strong couple is that you will be able to universally together say, that's not our truth. Like, doesn't matter what anyone's saying about you, right? It doesn't matter what that's a distraction. And this is what's real. And if you're in a strong enough relationship, you can do that.
So you seem so goal-oriented, Dr. Contessa. I try. And you've hit every goal. You're an overachiever, I see.
I'm still working on.
You're an overachiever.
I mean, I wouldn't mind a private jet.
Yeah. Oh, I know, that's right.
Right?
So is that what you want? Like, what's your ultimate goal?
A driver. I don't want to ever touch a car's steering wheel ever in my life. Like, Uber. I want someone, I do that too, but see, then they want to talk to you and I'll be like, I know it. Where is that thing? It's like, I don't really, why does everybody feel obligated to tell me this is not really what I do? It's okay.
It's okay what you do.
This ain't really what I do either all the time. I mean, I mostly drive my car, but it's just, I just want to just,
Like in 5 years, where will Dr. Contessa be in 5 years?
Hopefully running some major nonprofit foundation
Is that what
or being on like a big, like in a big platform in a big way. And I'm just very careful because I'm super intentional. I have vision boards, vision books.
Me too.
And when I tell you every single thing I've ever written down has come true, it's almost like magic.
Okay. You want to know why? You ever heard that when they say, write it out? You got to spell it out because you're casting a spell. And I hate to say that because people would think it's like you're into witchcraft.
Exactly. Right. Correct.
But there's that. There's visual. I believe in vision boards. I just found this new thing and I had something with the ladies and it's very intentional about what is your goal?
Yeah.
Who do you need to become to reach that goal? What things in your life do you need to let go of to reach that goal? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What are your weaknesses? This thing really makes you, and I love it. It's a deep dive into self because a lot of times now I'm realizing, I said this to somebody, we love vision boards and I've been doing vision boards for years and years and years, but now they seem a little remedial almost. They almost feel like what's that next step to planning your life?
Right.
Right. And I think I found it. I have to share it with you when we get done. But and I get it. I get what you're saying because I'm into vision boards and everything too. So that's why I was asking. Everybody has a 5-year plan. I used to always say this, and I do this radio show for years. I've been doing it, and I always ask people, an artist that come through. I would always say to a singer, rapper, I said, so where do you see yourself in 5 years, or what's your 5-year plan? Because for me, it tells me you're thinking. Yeah. You're not just in it for the moment.
That's right.
And you're not just in it for the fame. If you're really thinking, there's a reason why you did what you did. There's a reason why you did a reality show. And that's what I'm trying to say. What was my
why? Yeah, for sure. So there was, so this is kind of several fold. So one, and then from a philanthropic standpoint, when I say the nonprofit, there has always been this desire for me to my life to impact millions, right? And so I'm really trying really hard. And one of the reasons why I even did the show is sometimes when you go to people and ask for money or you ask for alliances and collaborations, if they don't know your name, they will say no. And so I needed to have that
notoriety.
No, a little bit of because it's a lot. Everybody I know is a fabulous doctor. Like I always say, I'm the least impressive among my crew. Like all my friends are stars, and they make me better and stronger and more amazing. But at this phase in my life, I just want to give it all away, and I want to give back so much that I touch and make everyone's life better around me, and exponentially better, and exponentially more financially successful, and passionate and more, personally successful, but also with my children, I had to fix that. And I want my children to, as adults, want to hang out and spend time with me without requiring more money from me or because I'm obligating them to. I want them to organically want to be with me and around me. And I see now as I'm growing up with my friends whose kids are grown and going to college and graduate school and just living their life, they only come back if they need something, or they only talk to them when they need something. And I did not want to create those little monsters. And so I'm trying to spend the time with my kids and invest in them. So then I can say they are Metcalfes. Yeah. And this is our value system. And this is why we do what we do. And watching me do my work, I want them to choose work that organically makes the world a better place and makes people around them better. And I think sometimes when we talk about the fluff, you get caught up in the fluff. And I'm not ever doing stuff, for value, for money. I say the private jet part, I was being facetious, but I like to not have to worry about money so I can have a dream. One of my dreams has always been, I'm really aligned with women veterans and foster kids. I would love to be able to create housing for millions of people. And the way I can do that is if I have private jet money. Private jet money being facetious, meaning is wasteful money. Yep. Because who needs a private jet?
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody does.
No.
But if I have enough money that I can spend it on fluff, then I can do it some really organic, wonderful things for people who need it.
Oh, gosh. I think that's great. And you're going to get it. You know why? I often tell this to people. You can't make your goal just the money.
That's right.
Because if you make it just money, you'll do anything and everything for it.
Anything for money.
For it.
For money.
You will make some of the worst decisions for it. You'll make some good ones. But you'll make all of your decisions based on that. And it should be something bigger than you. And the money will come after.
Because if not, what is your legacy? Why were you even here?
Just to make money?
Just to make money. And the money.
And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying, because God knows, we all know it makes the world go round and we need it.
Don't everyone be hungry.
Right.
Yeah.
But, we're all eating. That's what I always say. We're all eating. We're eating good. But if you really want to eat better, what is your real goal?
What's your why?
And your why, and the money will come.
That's right.
So real quick before you go, you have it all, right?
I do.
You have it all.
I was born with it all.
I know that's right.
The question is, what do you do with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what makes you so dope? I always ask the people before they leave the DeDe's Dope podcast, what makes you, Dr. Contessa, so dope?
Yes. I know who I am and I know whose I am. And I know my purpose here. And every day that I'm here, I'm so grateful that God feels like I'm still making a difference. And so I think that's what makes me dope. It's not about me. It's really about the impact that I can have on the world.
You think God's proud of you, girl?
I know he is. I do. And that's because I'm still here. And when he's not proud of me anymore, he's going to be like, you don't need to go. Come on up here and just chill out and watch the other people do it. And this is how you should have been doing it.
Is that how you talk to God?
I grew up apostolic, so I feel like you do have a direct line to God.
I do too.
Yeah.
Because my conversation with him is totally different than everybody else's, I'm sure.
That's right.
And we be laughing and stuff. I'm like, I know you're laughing at me, God. Me too. I know, right? Ain't that silly?
Right. And very respectful, though. I always show gratitude. And I live my life in gratitude. I always am very thankful. I tithe. Mm-hmm. And I would say one of the keys to my success has always been giving back.
I know that's right. Yeah. Girl, congratulations on everything. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
Boy, I love it. Dr. Contessa, I love you. You are so wonderful. Tell everybody how to follow you, everything else.
So I'm Dr. Contessa on all major platforms. I'm also the hot doc. That's my right. I think as a woman of a certain age, you got to be intentional about staying hot. I'm almost 50, so I'm going to be hot forever. HAUTE, yes. And then I'm also a sprinter doc because we do mobile medicine. So and Chastain,
and you work out all the time.
I do, and I eat. I'm plant-based, and Chastain Integrative Medicine is our clinic, and ChastainMedicine.com is our website.
Y'all make sure you follow her and support. Definitely. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody. That's a wrap. It's DeDe's Dope Podcast. Talk to you next week.
Wake up every day, put a smile on your face with DeDe's Dope Podcast.